Welcome back to the Future Leaders podcast, where we've got the co-founder of Surgeons Labs, Ruthie Builds.
Yep, that's right.
And he's been building his company blockchain company for 4 years. Thanks so much for joining us on the show, man.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I'm with Campbell and Isaac again. Went to the Forge event a few months ago. Absolutely impressed with what you guys have got going on. So very excited and pleasure to be here.
Oh, that's epic. What were your thoughts on the Future Leader Summit?
I've never seen anything like that in Australia before. The energy, the ambition and the youthfulness of that community there. And I feel like it's about time that Australia comes on the map in that kind of young entrepreneur scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What was the biggest takeaway you got from it?
Oh, man, I think the biggest takeaway is to remove all self-limiting doubts and just to take that first step. There's going to be a lot of people, especially in this day and age in Australia, that are looking to figure out how they can unlock like asymmetric upside. And that's the game. It's like, how can I get more output for the hours I put in, which a lot of JOBs don't let you get anymore. Mm-hmm. A lot of people fearful. They don't have the support network around them, and they don't have the voices around them to push them on and gives them the guidance and inspiration. And you guys provide that. So that's huge.
That's epic.
Yeah.
So, Julian, what we'd love to start off this podcast by asking, what is the most monumental level of success that you have, or what's the greatest achievement that you've achieved today?
Man, I would say the biggest achievement that I've had is being able to support 30 people in my company around the world. There's like different revenue milestones and like other sort of milestones that maybe I could tag onto, but I think the biggest thing is being able to support and bring together a company of 30 individuals, and through that also support their family by extension. And how that is a responsibility. Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Oh, man, being a leader is something that I've always wanted to be. Being able to support and others around and have like a united vision and mission for us to push towards. And I think that culture and feeling of family and togetherness towards that is something that powers me every single day.
And be able to have an impact that lasts just beyond yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not just money that you're giving to these people, but you're giving them essentially a purpose to live. Yeah. The thing that drives them, and that's one of my biggest passions, is to get people so bought into your vision that they're willing to like lose sleep. They're willing to genuinely help you create this thing that just was an idea in your head at one point, and now they're so bought in and they're willing to just commit to something, and that's something so special.
And I feel like there's always a tipping point in one's journey when building a company as well, which I never thought about, was when I was starting off, I was always looking at revenue goals. So how do I hit that first 5-figure month? How do I hit that first 6-figure month? How do I get to 7 figures a month, right? And then over time though, my mindset just shifted, because when I had a team around me, let's say it was around 10 members, all of a sudden my mindset was, okay, how do I make sure that I have 3 years of runway? How do I make sure that even if everything goes to shit, I can keep as many people on my team possible and just like go through the dark times together? And then it's just always been that's been my thought process. My kind of emotional anchor is in like team sustainability, company sustainability now. Yeah.
So when did you start building your team? What was the catalyst to allow you to expand it?
4 years ago, I took the dive into building Surgeons, which is the blockchain marketing and consulting company. We were actually at negative revenue for some times because I was just paying out of my pocket with my co-founder. And that probably happened for at least a year, where we were just going down and down, actually to the point where I had to sell my car as well back then. And I was nearly zeroing out in terms of my net worth. I was very stressed. But then we got initial validation just by sticking through what I call the valley of despair, which is what a lot of entrepreneurs go through, the valley of despair. But one of my friends who's very successful in ecom would always tell me, like, get through that valley of despair. That's where everyone quits. You stick through, you're going to be that 10%, 5% that can experience the growth from there, right? Just like keep on pushing, be intentional, and strive for validation, whether that be your first deal, first recurring contract. So when we got that first recurring contract and got up to 10K a month, I wasn't paying myself then, or my co-founder either. We were just like, okay, well, how do we get a few more clients into a sales system that we might have working here, and then set up that fulfillment side with team members, right? So then brought in a couple team members from then on, and then it just started to grow from there. Yeah.
So talk us through what is Surgeons Labs and what are you truly building? What's your vision for Surgeons Labs?
Our vision at the moment, well, our thesis is that blockchain is going to be a very ingrained future in society. Actually, right now, you'll see billion-dollar acquisitions between top payment companies like Stripe, trying to get ahead of everyone else to integrate blockchain into like their payment systems. Because the thing that blockchain has an edge over traditional fiat money and banks and systems is transparency. Banks are not transparent. And then instant settlement as well. I send money to someone, even in Australia, it might take some time for the money to get there. If I send it overseas, it's going to be 3 to 5 days. I can send money instantly through blockchains. And I think that's what's happening right now and over the next 5 years is it's going to become a key part of how humans transfer value. So we wanted to play on that thesis and help financial product-led companies, whether it be payment cards or whether it be like savings banks online, like yielding products, to do their marketing, to do product design with them and take them from 0 to 1, or existing brands from 1 to 100 with campaigns, strategy planning, and execution, right, with distribution and marketing and so on. So yeah, and then at the moment we've worked with over 100 clients over the past 3 years, and usually we work with about 15 clients at any point in time. Yeah.
That's epic. So like it's helping, what sort of companies do you work with?
Yeah, so like one example might be a credit card called, or debit card called BipTap. And it's a card that allows users to off-ramp their crypto onto a payment card and then be able to use that around the world, globally. And then so the focus there is how do we take that to market? How do we scale their brand and their distribution channels so they will have more paying customers, more customers loading up onto their card and using it. So therefore scaling the revenue of the company that we're working with.
Yep.
So we are usually, you could call us kind of like go-to-market strategists or scalers that come in to scale revenue alongside the companies that we work with. Yeah.
So do you solely work with blockchain companies?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. How do you find the acquisition of that? Obviously, they're everywhere. But how do you find the diamonds in the roughs, the ones that can truly grow, that aren't just trying to rug pull everybody?
Yeah, 99% of the space is a scam. If especially for those that are new to the space, you're always going to think that's a scam. You're going to think Pepe, Elon Musk, SBF, all these scam events that take place. For us, a lot of our operations and deal flow is actually on the institution side. So we're working with really big companies, whether it's from Web2 or whether it's from prominent VCs, such as A16Z or whatever. And we come in as a partner to then help on the marketing and execution side or the ops side of their portfolio companies. Maybe an example is Animoca Brands. That's a big VC in Australia, and they moved to Hong Kong as well. And they put in big tickets into projects that they think or companies they think are going to change the world. And then they bring us on board to help market those projects and scale their user base and like try and help with revenue unlock and growth.
So how do you scale? Like, what is your approach to that process for businesses?
Yeah, I think it's all about demand generation and trying to build awareness. Do you know Cluely by any chance? Yeah, Cluely had a fantastic product launch, right? Viral trailers, a lot of top signal founders in San Francisco talking about it, and then through these campaigns, attracting 1,000% month-on-month growth through just really good distribution. And our goal is to figure out what are those campaigns that we can execute, whether it be with partners, whether it be with creators, whether it be with news outlets, or big product launches, and design that product launch together and do it in such a way that creates conversation, engagement, and network effects, like friends sharing with others. Whenever I break down a marketing campaign, there's two sides to it. There's what is the experience that you're marketing, right? What is the systems that are going to allow for that thing to also go viral? Referrals, network effects, incentives for people to join. And then what is the distribution part, like creators, PR, news outlets, and other things that you can use as leverage to fuel attention into your virality engine, right? And setting up that campaign for growth. So that's what a usual day looks like for us when working with our companies.
Epic.
Yeah.
So let's wind the clock back a little bit. What was childhood like for you? How has this kind of built you into the person that you are today? Because
man, I was degenerate. I was a kid. Actually, in university, I was failing a lot of my courses. I failed some of the simplest ones, man, like maths, stats, econ 101.
What did you study at uni?
Information systems.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was actually an interesting one because I tried to get into commerce at UNSW, but I couldn't make it in. So I did information systems, which was okay, but I never used that degree again. During uni, I was nothing similar to what I am now. As a person, my values as well and whatever, I was just doing drugs all the time, going out, raves, parties, whatever it was. But I think there came a tipping point where I was kind of running away from what was making me uncomfortable, which is my family wasn't well off, like financially, we were always renting, paycheck to paycheck and so on, right? And so for myself, it came to a point where I just came to my senses and realized, shit, okay, I've got to do something about the situation that I'm in, because the way that I'm going is quite destructive, just doing drugs every weekend and going out and like running my balance to zero. So then I took the leap of faith with my friend Vin, which is now my co-founder, to see if we can just cook up some ventures to make money on the side of our job.
How did you meet Vin?
Man, we were on a university camp together about 6 years ago now, and he had a lighter and I had cigarettes on me, and he asked me if I had cigarettes. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. And,
match made in heaven.
Yeah. I was standing there. He came up to me, this Vietnamese guy. He's like, oh man, you got cigarettes? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've got cigarettes. I don't have a lighter though. He's like, I've got a lighter. And I was like, okay, nice to meet you. My name's Julian. What's your name? Vin. Okay, yeah, I've seen you around. And then we did some bonding on that camp, some, funny stuff that we got up to. And then afterwards, I think we clicked really well and we kept in touch. And then money was one of the discussions that we had, and hustling and what we do for our job and so on. And I had a thought in my mind. I've been seeing a lot of e-commerce going around back then in the early days. And I was like to him, hey, let's just try something together and see how it goes. Did e-com back then, didn't really do well. Did Amazon FBA as well, didn't do well. Tried to do wholesaling, didn't do well. And then we landed on crypto and stuck through, and then that ended up paying off.
I think we've all gone through the chase the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. And you know what? I think this is actually a thought that I've been having recently about why it didn't go well back then. Why didn't my e-com brand go well back then? Why didn't my Amazon FBA brand go well back then? And when I look back, it's because I wasn't delusional enough. I didn't stick through enough. And I thought that things should come relatively easy if I work on it for a few months hard. And maybe I should be seeing results. If I don't, then that's broken system. It's not me. But now when I look back on it, I kind of realized that I was chasing the shiny object, and each one of them could have worked, but I wasn't delusional enough to make it work. I didn't have that like belief or that network around me that once made it work for themselves, and that could give me the information that I need to make it work too. And an example is one of my friends, whose name is Gary Chen. Shout out to Gary Chen. He's a ecom boy in Australia, and he quit Immutable X. He was working at Immutable X a while ago and has just been working on his ecom store ever since. And I think for nearly a year, he's been steady lining between like 10 to 20K, 30, whatever monthly revenue. And he just kept sticking through. He was delusional. He kept on having belief. He knew it was going to work. It was just a matter of when. A year later, which I would never have been able to stick through a year back then, but a year later, himself with the network that he had, giving him the information that he needs, and a strong why, which is very similar to my why too, about family. He's now doing 1.5 mil every month in revenue, and that's only been happening over the past couple months. It's growing into Q4. And so when I look at that story, I just think about how entrepreneurship is all about sticking out to that moment where you unlock that asymmetric upside, which I was talking about before, where in a job, you're putting in finite amount of hours and you get a fixed amount of money. But when you're doing entrepreneurship, it's all about building the product, building the brand, building the system, and sticking through to the point where you get validation, it works, you double down on what it works, and you unlock the beauty of entrepreneurship, which is that asymmetric scaling, that upside. And it's just a beautiful story that I always resonate or like come back to for people around me as well.
And you mentioned Immutable X, that kind of sparked a wound for me when I was chasing the shiny object, bro. Shit, the NFTs first came out. I was trying to chase the newest Bored Ape, and I was in the trying to get whitelisted on Discord, typing in, trying to get what was it? Yeah. Oh, mate,
it's too many of them.
that one sparked a.
So I love the story. When's the hyperbolic rise that you had? What's that story for you and your business?
Oh man, so we were really steady with our growth from throughout last year, from the start of the year towards the end of the year, where it was going from our 10K a month from the year before to then going to 30 and then 50. And then all of a sudden, there came this point in time where through doing really good work for the companies that we were with, like we cared a lot about the finite, small portfolio that we had. We knew that if we were to work our ass off for them and to really embed into their company like we were a part of their core team, that it would pay off later. And the referrals started to kick in. The founders that we worked with really liked us, wanted to introduce us to their friends and founders. And actually throughout the whole of last year, we didn't do any sales outreach. It was just all referrals and partner growth and so on. And us trying to figure out, okay, we need to hire some more people. Like we can't scale. Like we need to scale to be able to onboard these partners that we want. And then that was when we had our first little exponential growth uptick, which to now is like going from that 50K to 100K a month, and then 100K to around like 500K a month now. And then right now sitting at 500K to 600K a month, what we want to do is try and like, we're finally working on our sales outreach system, our BD system, slide deck materials and everything, website SEO and online ads too, to see how we can scale further. Because I think whilst we have referrals going and we have really trusted partners, I think to get to the next level, it's all going to be about our outreach efforts and our outbound marketing efforts of our own brand. Yeah.
I love it. So that's what's next for you, right? Is focusing on the sales, focusing on what makes your referrals. You're like you sort of touched on it, like you care about the clients, but now that you've grown even further, why would they refer? Like, well, what is that? What does Surgeons Labs do that's different to everyone else in the market?
I think there's a few things that make referrals work, and a lot of people don't understand that, and therefore they don't unlock the beautiful growth that referrals can come with. Because by the way, referrals is one of the best ways to scale a company, because when a founder or a client refers their friend to work with you, the sales cycle can just be instant. Like they're ready to sign on straight away, and they have that trust. They have that social proof from their friend, and they're ready to come in, give money, and look for results. And for us, we understood a few things about referrals that made it work. One is never being too greedy with referrals. You have to give a cut. If you give a cut, such as commission, and a monthly recurring commission for how long the deal is on for, these guys are always going to want to bring more deals to us, right? If an average deal is, let's say, $20K a month US, and then we give them a 15% cut of that each month, if they refer 2 or 3 deals, they have a full-time salary just from that.
Yeah.
And that's been our main goal, is just trying to anchor in our referral partners through that. But the second one is you also don't want to make them look bad. You need to make your referral partners look good. If they bring in someone they like, a friend of theirs, a founder buddy of theirs, they bring them in and you execute terribly, you're going to make the referral partner pissed off, and then the founder that came on recently as well pissed off. So the second part is treating those deals coming from your referral partners with your utmost best care, best team, best execution, because every deal matters. And then once you have those 2 things anchored in, then your referral flywheel is just going to continue to grow from there.
Yeah, I like it. It's like just having a good product.
Yeah, good product. And I think a lot of people undermine the impact of alignment of incentives. Some people just give sometimes $500 off for this commission or whatever. But if you really want referrals to work, you have to provide an incentive that actually gets these people actively referring. And so even though we give out quite a lot of money a month to referrals, it's like a cost for us, right? We know that it generates way more upside in the long run anyways, so it doesn't matter. And
you'd be spending that money if you had to acquire the client anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you spend it on new customer acquisition. It's you might as well just put it into your cost.
Yeah, 100%. And so yeah, it's just one of the most beautiful ways to scale, because referral costs just scale with your revenue. If you're making more money from these referrals, there's no issue to just pay more and get more deals in the future as well. So,
and the best thing as well is, and this is something that we've highlighted a lot more with what we're building of Forge, is you attract the right character as well. When you're taking referrals, when people are associated with certain other people and they align with other people or other businesses, naturally people are drawn to other people's that have similarities to themselves. Yeah. So they're more likely to be the ideal client for yourself as well if they're in the other. So you're less likely to have churn, you're less likely to have clients that don't implement, you're less likely to have clients that, there's so many things that they could or couldn't do, but just to have that alignment is something that people definitely underestimate when it comes to referrals and building those referral partnerships.
Yeah, that's a really big one.
One question I have for you, because I don't think people realize the extent to how you can navigate referral partnerships. They think of it, just get a 20% off code and it becomes like an affiliate.
Yeah.
Do you want to discuss a little bit more into what your referral partner acquisition strategy looks like? Because some people don't realize how much negotiation you can actually do and realize how you actually navigate those relationships.
So for us, we're a B2B services company. So for us, the ideal referral partner is, thinking from first principles. Who in this industry is working as a fractional CMO, fractional decision maker, or an advisor or an investor that has a lot of influence on a broader group of companies, right? And that's why for us, when we're always thinking about referrals, we're trying to find those people that either are advising a portfolio of companies. So maybe they could be a strategic advisor or an investor and an advisor to a portfolio of companies for themselves. Or there could be a fractional CMO. I think in this day and age, you'll have a lot of fractional roles growing, especially because CMO hires, CTO hires, and so on are getting so expensive, and startups are looking to hire fractional versions of these people, right? And we always try to hunt these people down, connect with them, whether it be physically or digitally, and then build a relationship, show them into what our operations look like, share with them everything. We don't care if they take away and use themselves, our databases or whatever. We want to, because we know the secret of success in this industry and in any services industry is execution, right? You can have all the information that you need, but if you can't execute, it doesn't matter.
That's exactly what Homosi did.
Yeah,
he exactly. Absolutely everything away. He said, "Go try and copy me." Yeah. No single person will.
100%. It's actually one thing that we also do in the sales process is we give the client an overview of the strategy that we would execute together, And a lot of people on my team tell me, why do you keep doing that? Like, aren't you scared that the potential client that you're working with is going to run away with that? And I say, in fields like this, execution trumps strategic planning, vision, whatever. You can have that, but if you can't execute, it doesn't matter. So our strength is in execution. Everyone can ideate and think and have a vision, but if you can't execute, then it's all going to zero, right? But yeah, so with referral partners, we always try and hunt them down, give them access to resources, build conviction in them, and then they would then maybe provide the question of, oh, do you guys have like a referral partnership that we could discuss? And then we talk about commissions. We go straight to them with 15%. They're usually really happy with that because of the average deal size of one client. And then introductions just open up from there. When intros open, we always do that typical sales sequence, initial discovery call, strategy proposal call, and then try and close it off on the third call, and then get started working the week after. So we try and make a really quick sales cycle.
What is your length of sales cycle?
Through referrals, I would say it could be 1 to 2 weeks. Now, if it's not through referrals, it could be 1 month or 2 months even. Some of our longest sales cycles could be like 4 to 6 months. It's just depending on like how many decision makers are there, how big the company is, how much approvals you have to get, and so on.
Particularly in the blockchain space.
Yeah.
Would you say you primarily work with like startups, or were you working with larger companies, enterprise organizations?
I'd say both, a mix of both.
Okay.
There's a lot of startups that we work with, but the startups are also sometimes an arm of a bigger institution or like an enterprise company. And so often, whilst you're going to work with and contract with a startup, you might end up actually contracting with that company, the big company that's behind it, and that's going to make the sales cycle really painful. So that in itself brings in like a whole new sort of dynamic to sales, which is like stakeholder alignment and decision maker alignment as well. Often when you get onto the sales calls, the first person that you speak to is not the decision maker, and you have to like navigate your way to get to that decision maker, get everyone on board, and then close a contract together.
Yeah, they're the gatekeeper. They're not the decision maker. They're the ones like, hey, is this going to be worth this person's time? We'll see. I'll suss them out. Let's have a look.
Yeah, the gatekeeper is always is a very hard persona to get through for sales. But one of our tricks is we always intentionally frame the conversation to make the gatekeeper feel like they're going to be the one getting all the praise if we work together and we make a successful campaign. We're like, hey, we are going to work with you closely, I bet, through this collaboration. I know that we've got to get the buy-in of other people, but the campaigns that we can build together and launch together and the results that we can get are going to be so great, and it's going to make you look really good in the position that you're in and hit your KPIs too. So we try and like play that game.
Play into the ego of the person. Be like, yeah, I'm a good gatekeeper.
No, that really makes. I really like that positioning, because then they get more bought into you, not just on what you offer, but they're like, okay, these guys understand why I'm doing it, and then they go and persuade on your behalf to the other gatekeepers or the other, SMEs or the business.
Because as a services company, when you're trying to sell to some gatekeepers or stakeholders, they might feel threatened that you're coming in as a potential replacement to them. And so they might feel like if they present this working opportunity to their founder, they might be seen as someone that can't execute on themselves and so on. So you really need to frame it in a way that kind of like, boosts their ego, makes them feel like this is going to result in long-term benefits for them too.
I love that one. In terms of, this would be good. In terms of for yourself, what trait would you say that you possess that is your superpower in business?
That's a good one. Servant leadership, I think, is the
subservient leadership.
Servant leadership, yeah. The thing is, and I think I've had this is something that I have embodied ever since I dived into the startup world. So before I worked at Surgeons, or I built Surgeons, I left the consulting world. I was working at Deloitte. Fucking hated it. never again. Going back into consulting, man. Shit. And then dived into startups after that.
Yep.
And at this first startup that I was working at, it was called Nira. It's now a Series B scale-up that's in America. I was one of the first employees that went from Australia to America for 7 months during COVID, actually, which fucked me up in all ways. But and during that 7 months, I learned everything about servant leadership, being there with my manager, building up the American operations team and so on, right, and doing the go-to-market there for the product that I owned. And one thing that I learned through that is that good leaders are ones that treat their team as a flat structure and has no issue getting into the reeds of groundwork, right? I think there's this distinction between managers are ones that just tell people to do and blame and point their finger. Leaders are ones that empower their team, show them the way, getting involved in the work on the ground level, no matter how granular that task is, and unite their team around them, right? And so I think after that experience and seeing my manager do the same and impact me in that way, because my manager would get into all the sales calls with me. He would get involved in tiny little project tasks with me and so on. I wanted to embody that same thing when I was building surgeons as well. Because I know that my team is not going to put in hard work and obsess over surgeons and the clients if the founder is not doing the same. Like how can the founder point at a team member and say, hey, you need to put in X amount of hours a day. You need to, work relentlessly, dedicate your life to this mission and whatever. And them themselves are not getting involved in the groundwork. Them themselves are not putting in the effort or half the effort that the team are, right? So for me, I always make sure that if I want to have a hardworking team, I always need to be the hardest working person in the room so that I have grounds to stand on to empower the team and push them harder as well. And that often works really well because, one, they feel inspired and empowered. They're often saying, wow, like, Ruthie, you're working so hard. Like, you're always working 24/7, like, and so on. Why? And I'm like, well, if I have an expectation that you guys are working hard, I need to work harder so that there's always that room for growth for you guys. I need to lead by example, set by example, and be a servant leader myself. So yeah.
That's awesome. So let's go this direction. So in regard to the company that I first worked at, basically in a very similar way, how you were inspired by somebody else who was an excellent leader, not a manager. Yeah. He's learned to buy back his time and still empower his team. So he's not necessarily in the weeds every single day, but he's still on the front lines and he's there to help everybody and support. How are you doing that, or how do you plan to do that? Because naturally you can't always, as much as you want to be on the front lines and you can show, I'm going to lead by example, you can put your time in, but how are you going to buy back your time to truly 100%. Get that freedom that you're after?
This is a really timely question because this is something that a couple of my mentors as well has been asking me too, which is, man, you're always in the front line, you're always working. But if you want to hit that next milestone for surgeons, you need to be focusing more on company level direction, strategic decisions to grow and scale. And you being involved in the reads every single day on the front line with client calls and so on is not going to let you get there. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's something that I personally am challenged with. And I think the solution to that is being okay with what someone told me, like, you got to be okay with 80% quality of work to your standard of perfection, and be okay with your team. Just like give them the systems, the SOPs, and the necessary support for them to be able to operate at least 80% of your perfection standards, right? And focus on company level tasks to grow and scale. And so that's something that I need to focus on internally myself, is developing our operations further, our playbooks, our SOPs, team training, so that I can start to abstract myself out of the day-to-day operations of every single team member and team, and then or client, and focus on company level growth decisions.
Have you read Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell?
No. Good book.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So that's what kind of the framework that I was going towards. I'll send you a copy of the book.
Yeah.
So his framework is 80%, a task done 80% by somebody else is better than 100% done by you.
Okay. Well, that's probably where it came from
Probably.
Yeah. Because I keep on telling myself, and I often tell other people, perfection is a killer of progress. And, ironically now I'm kind of like killing further progress just by trying to be a perfectionist within our existing clients and standards. So I need to balance it out. I need to go for that 80-20 rule.
Well, so I say, as Surgeons Labs grows as well, the founder is the biggest risk to the business. Yeah. Again, what kind of revenue are you pulling at the moment with Surgeons Labs?
I would say it's around $400K US a month, so probably around 600, 700K a month. Yeah,
cool. So for that, you are the sole, because if you're on the front lines and the business doesn't run without you, like obviously for a moment they'll be there, but you're on the front lines all the time to galvanize everybody and to truly empower the team. You're the biggest risk for any future investors, any acquisitions. So learning how to separate yourself from that business is the way that you can truly grow.
Yeah, that is true. Often when you're building a services company or even like a product company, there's this time in the company growth where, and I've been told this a few times, where you need to separate yourself as a founder to the heartbeat of the company, because you need to make sure that the company can operate without you there. If you can't, your business is not scalable, exitable, and so on, right? And that's the next big challenge for me, is trying to put in the hard work with team development, processes, and so on, so that can happen, that it can operate without me there at 80%. If I am there, it's at 100%, right? And there's going to be times when I am there, I'm not there. But if I want to do things in the future, like exit, I can. And the company will continue to operate without me there. So that's the next big challenge for me.
This book revolutionized your life.
Okay, next one. Yeah, I've got 2 books on my reading list now.
What's your other one?
Oh, those 2. The Buy Back Your Time and then Revolutionize Your Life, right?
No. No.
Oh.
The book is going to revolutionize your life.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the book that I'm reading right now is Extreme Ownership by Jacko.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Yes. Good one. It's a good one. It teaches you about the best leaders in the world are ones that will take extreme ownership and accountability for any problems, even if it was created by their team. It's ultimately your fault as a leader. No matter how much of a stretch it is, it's your fault, and you should take ownership and push for solutions and improvement with your team. If you're a leader, you don't take extreme ownership, you point, blame, and complain, then you yourself are going to fail to build a successful team, company, and so on. So it's a really good book. He mixes it with his life story about being in, I think, Iraq or Afghanistan and fighting, on the ground as a leader, and the mistakes that he made, the issues that he ran into, and it's such a good read.
Well, that's something that I love when it comes to leadership, is everything is your fault. Whether if your team was to mess up in some way which was so detrimental, it is not your team's fault. As much as the reprimand may be toward the team, it always stems back to an issue with you and your leadership. Was it your communication, your training? Is there a gap in the systems and processes? What have you failed to do as a leader to ensure that they were equipped to do it to the extent that you would like to?
Yeah, and this is going to be the key ingredient to be able to scale from where we are now to that next stage, is being an effective leader in that angle, right? Giving them, because, I try to be an extreme ownership-based leader, a servant leader, and I never blame, I never complain, and so on. And we make mistakes. But I personally have been lagging on the focus of team training, program development, SOPs, so that we can reduce risks, right? Reduce execution risks, improve results, even if I'm not there. And so this is going to be the key reason that we can get to from where we are now to maybe hopefully 7 figures a month, right, for the company and scaling further. Without that, there's no chance that we're going to be able to get there if I continue being like
In terms of your leadership dynamic with your co-founder, what kind of role in Genius Zone do you take versus him?
Yeah, picking your co-founder is one of the most important decisions you'll make in business, who you're going to dance with for the next many years. We actually had 4 co-founders. 2 are gone.
We had 6.
Oh, really? Long story with the other 2, but there's just misalignment is how I would say it in the end.
Yeah.
Just misalignment. But also, it's a blessing that it's now just me and Vin. And the synergy is really complementary as well. I'm more introverted. He's more extroverted. I'm more, I love campaigns. I love strategy, planning, execution. He loves BD, sales, partnerships, networking. So we kind of hold those 2 angles of the company. So he manages kind of deal flow. I manage retention, right, or fulfillment. So that's like the combination that we have.
I love this because, again, that's a similar dynamic that Campbell and I have. And it gets repeated more and more. I love when it is a 2-founder system, it's almost, I'd say 90% of the time, that is basically the same.
Yeah.
Every single time. Like there was another one recently. He runs an engineering recruitment company. And he was basically explaining his role. I'm like, you were literally me. So, and explained like Campbell to a T. So it's just so interesting to see how transferable and naturally you fall into the roles, because business is truly just a formula that just gets repeated over and over and over again. And whether you fall into those roles or naturally you grow into them. Yeah. And it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, 100%. I think the thing that is going to set up a lot of co-founders up for success is the alignment in energy and passion for business building as well. Because I've seen time and time again companies or co-founders fall apart because one person is pulling way more weight than the other one is not as motivated, and so on, right? And that's a very important thing to nail down earlier on, so it's not a problem that you have to deal with later. And that could be an expensive problem if you have to buy them out later as well, which is a pain. So that's why I say like picking co-founders is really important, because one, like obviously you can't get it right all the time at the start. You do make it wrong. A wrong decision, you have to deal with it earlier rather than later, because naturally in the pursuit of business building, you know, God willing, everything goes right and your business is scaling, but you still want to get that co-founder off, you're going to have to pay a fee. There's a consequence to not making that decision earlier, which is buying their equity and getting them out, right? And
have the hard conversations.
Yeah, way earlier, because if you have it later, it's going to be a huge expense to the balance sheets.
To everything as well.
Everything, mental, team-wise.
Culture. Clients as well. The impact it has on the clients, because you're not showing up 100% because you're going through this massive legal battle, you're going through all this, and then you can't be your best self.
100%.
And then it's like, well, what happened? Why is this whole company falling apart? And it's all just because of your lack of ability to have those tough conversations. And something I learned recently was business's ability to grow exponentially is the ability to have the tough conversations.
Yeah, 100%. Mental wellness, like you mentioned there as well, is such a big factor to building a successful business too. I think a lot of people get so embedded into their business building journey in a way that sacrifices their own personal well-being, and that's just going to end up terribly in the long run, whether it be burnout, whether it be loss of motivation, and then ultimately killing progress. And like you said, also things come up in business or personal life too, but business too, that can drag at you and your personal well-being, right? Delaying difficult decisions until later points where the problem itself is so big and it's going to drag you down even And that's one of the things that I've always been mindful of, especially recently, is trying to make sure that I'm always putting in or investing in myself to have time off work, to manage my personal life well as make sure to deal with problems at business quickly. So often I think about Jocko Wilkins' book as well about extreme ownership and how good leaders don't veer away from hard situations. They don't delay solving them. They just say, fuck it, like, I'm going to get into it right away. I'm going to bite the bullet and just try and solve it as soon as possible. Whether it's an unhappy client, some issues within your team, and so on. You just say, okay, well, this is the reality that I've been dealt with. I can't run away from it. I can delay it and maybe have a couple nice, good nights of sleep until I deal with it again in the future. But that has always historically just ended up worse. So always just dealing with your problems instantly is going to be the best thing you can do as a business
But
builder.
the more you delay it, it's just like a long-term loan or a mortgage. It comes back with interest. So the longer you take to pay it back, it's so much harder to pay back. And the mental toll.
It's a good way to frame it. 100%. It's long-term interest, I would say, accrual on that mortgage, man, because sometimes when you delay hard decisions, what happens is you probably as a person have a habit of always running away from big problems too. And then these will just start to compound on top of each other. You would have more problems compound onto that with that entity, that person, until it's so big that you can't avoid it. And now you have to deal with a whole shit show. Solve that.
And then you got to put your whole life on pause and then everything goes into anything.
100%.
So Julian, what do you need right now?
I'd say, me personally right now, it's being able to strengthen up the company operationally. And like you said, 80-20 rule, being able to abstract myself out of the groundwork of Surgeons Labs and focus on high-level strategic decisions and work that could take us to that next level. I have a huge, a nice problem myself of always just loving being on the front line. So I need to take myself away from the front line and know when I can be there and when I shouldn't be there. But right now I'm always on there. So that's a big problem that I have. Yeah.
So what are you currently doing right now to train that muscle? Because it becomes with your intuition and everything when you realize when you should and when you shouldn't be. Yeah. And it takes the mistakes and the lessons to truly understand when you should and shouldn't insert yourself into it. So how are you currently training that muscle?
Man, I'd say one of the cool things that I've been seeing when I build a team is that when you give your team ownership, when you give them empowerment, when you give them words of encouragement and recognition of their successes too, they become so motivated to take on more, to be better and do better. And when you don't micromanage, you give them their space, you give them their ownership. Yes, they might make mistakes, but you're there to solve it with them. And then you build playbooks for that to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I always try and find these players. They might not be an A player in terms of skill set, but they definitely have that A grade in attitude, right? And showing up. And so what I want to do and continue doing is finding those people and keeping those people that have an A in attitude. They might have a B in skills, but I'll work with them to train that skill level up. And then I believe that if I continue to do that, I can take myself out of the front line and build a company that's genuinely designed for scale, right? I can't remember who built that analogy of like A players and B players. I feel like someone very big.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but all I remember is hire for the soul, train for the role.
Yeah, that as well. It's such an important thing. I've hired for skill set before, like some gun people that cost me an arm and a leg. Holy shit. And they would perform at like 30% of what these hungry, hustlers that have like an incredible attitude, don't have much skill at all, but are willing to learn and put in their life into the company, right? And so that's what I always look for, is people that actually care about the company and the team that they work with. Yeah.
No, we've got to wrap this podcast up.
Yeah.
I really wanted to ask, because I didn't get to ask, but if you can do it like 60 seconds, at the very beginning, you said that you went through a phase where you were still doing drugs, you didn't have the drive, you were sort of lost. What was that turning point, or was there a turning point in a story, or where you just realized that, okay, this is no longer the life that I wanted to live, and I'm going to start doing whatever it takes to, you know, build that e-commerce business, fail, build another business, fail, and get to the point where you've built Surgeons Labs? Was there a specific turning point that was like, okay, I'm going to start living this, moving towards this life versus the life I was living?
100%. So one of the turning points was my father got a heart operation. So actually I bought on Christmas with a limited amount of money that I had a Garmin watch for him, which had a heart rate tracker. And then there was, when he started using it, there was a discrepancy or like some questionable results. And so he went into the hospital, and then they had to do an operation on his heart. And like, luckily that went well, and then he came out of the hospital well and so on. But after that, I just realized that time is running out with my parents, and they're still working every single fucking day, you know, both of them. And I need to get my shit together to try and help them out financially because they've done so much for me, and I want to try and pay that back. So I think, you know, also you guys asked me about freedom too, what freedom means to me. For me, like freedom, what that means to me is seeing the people around me that I love being free. I don't really care about like the conventional definition of freedom for myself too much. Like I think I'm always going to be working until the day I die. I love it. But being able to see those people around me not stressed and supported, and I can support them better, is what matters to me a lot. And so that kind of turning point made me realize, okay, well, working the jobs that I am currently, earning the salaries that I was earning back then, I'm not going to be able to achieve any sort of support for them and freedom for them. I'm going to need to change something drastic in my life. And so that's where I took the dive into the MMO scene, you know, making money online and seeing what I could do out of that.
Well, love it, bro.
Inspiring, bro.
Thank you, man. I think that's one of the big things that separate a lot of, you know, successful entrepreneurs that are building out and scaling, or those people that are going to become successful too, is anchoring yourself in a really strong why that will get you through all those hard times of no results, sleepless nights or whatever. Because once you find that like really strong why, I really believe nothing can stop you from there. Yeah.
We're building the most capable generation in history. So that's a pretty big why in our books. 100%. So it makes those times where you're like, why are we even spending thousands on marketing for this free event? Nobody's paying us anything. It's like, just the big why.
I mean, but you guys are ultimately in the end changing so many lives. That's what it is. Like you guys are providing the support that someone needs to pay for a life, you know, some life-threatening support for their family, right? Maybe some medical bills, or to get that first holiday for their family that they've always wanted to treat them with. And like once you get that validation from support and your why, it's like a drug. You just can't stop doing it. You love it. You love seeing the impact that you have, and you want to keep going. Yeah.
All right, well, Julian, this has been incredible. Who in your network would you like to see on the podcast?
Oh man, I think I would love for you guys to interview two people. One of them is Jonathan Lowe, which is a guy who's building, he's one of my partners who's building a fintech company, which is around 9 figures valuation soon. And he has an incredible story of actually being in jail in Bangkok for 4 or 5 years, coming out of jail with nothing and starting his fintech journey after that. Yeah.
That's epic.
And then the other one is the Frank.
Frank Grief.
Yeah, the Grief brothers. If you guys get the Grief brothers on, that would be amazing. Oh, and the third one is Sylvester. Frank Sylvester from Finder, the founder.
Okay. No, not aware.
He's a really well-known founder in the startup space in Sydney, and he loves getting on podcasts too. And he's a billionaire as well. He's a really great guy to have on the thing. So those are the three.
Love it.
Well, so for the people listening at home, how can they find you?
I'm on Twitter at Ruthie Builds, and Instagram as well with the same username. So I can just be there for anyone. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Julian.
Thank you, man.
It's coming on.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Julian.